Hello, fellow gamers. Cryptic Panther back with another content creator interview for Beyond the Games. And with me today, I have my good buddy, Thrompz.
Howdy, howdy.
I was going to say, that's where you say hello. With a big, long, dramatic pause.
Yeah, I gotta build up to me,
Get it build up. You got to get the hype going. So, so you were gracious enough to walk into this pretty much blind. You had no idea what was coming. So
yeah, just help out a friend, when he says, "Hey, you want to come join us?" I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely."
sweet. I appreciate it. Appreciate it very much. So we're gonna start off with a pretty simple question. It may be a long-winded answer. That's fine, but pretty simple question. What was your motivation for getting into streaming or content creation? What was your motivation when you started out?
Honestly, I've pretty much been a huge gamer all my life. So when it came to streaming, I just I started off watching some of the small guys, and now they're huge. Like I remember watching Ninja when he was playing like H1Z1, and I just saw like he was just like relaxing, doing his own thing. But yet all these people were like shooting the shit with them, talking. Back then I didn't even really understand like the donations and stuff like that. I was like, okay, I guess just kind of cool. You're just kind of supporting this guy, but I don't know why you're like donating to a gamer. Now that's completely different. Now I can understand. You're helping someone make a living off this. But back in the day, it was just pretty much, I'm gonna be gaming anyways. Let me see what streaming can do for me. Let me see if I can kind of make myself out of this, or make a community, meet new friends, and that's actually what it mostly turned into. Is that I don't even really game with my in real life friends anymore. Here and there I do, but it's mostly with people that I stream now that I met through streaming. That's who I usually game with, like Mr. G, really good friend of mine. I game with him almost every single day. Never met the guy in real life, but I've been gaming with him for almost every day for a year and a half now. So, it's just about making friends, really.
Okay, all right. So you also have started a YouTube channel as well, which I know that you haven't put a lot of content up lately, but we're not going to get into that part right now. But what was your what got you into doing YouTube? Just so you get another avenue for people to see you, or was there anything else behind the YouTube push?
Yeah, so actually before I was into streaming, I didn't even watch Twitch for quite some time, even like when it was huge. Or when it started getting huge, I should say. So like I used to watch a guy named Omer, or I still watch him. His name's Omerecker. And he's a lot who I base all my content creating off of. I just like how he handles his channel with all of his friends. Um, so when I started streaming, I realized that it's almost trying to get any content on any platform is a smart idea. I never used Twitter before streaming. I never used Instagram. I still kind of don't. But yeah, all of that type of stuff, I've just never really I never really got into. So when I started streaming, I was like, I should probably take my VODs and just throw them up on YouTube. That's the easiest content you can do. Just take like I'd play like a Dead by Daylight game. That was 15 minutes. Cut that, throw it up on YouTube. Um, so for me, it was partially that I wanted to get into the YouTube game, and then also it's really smart if as a Twitch creator, all you're gonna do is possibly find more people to show up to your stream.
So you weren't looking to possibly move from Twitch to YouTube. It was just another avenue for your content.
Yeah, no, I don't say like I have the goal to move over there eventually. It's just more or less like, hey, if YouTube pops off way more than Twitch does, then yeah, you got to follow that instead. I will still always stream, here and there. There's just some type of games that are not YouTube friendly, and then there's some games that are not Twitch friendly, and you kind of have to go off that. In my personal opinion, I think more story oriented games are probably belong a little bit better on YouTube because you can more focus on the game itself right then and there rather than um trying to follow a storyline and then trying to pay attention to chat every 3 seconds, answering questions, introducing yourself, welcoming people in. It's when it comes to a story mode game and people want to watch it and kind of follow along with you, those constant interrupts can actually kind of get in the way, I feel like. So but there's some games that do and do not work in my opinion. So um Yeah, but with YouTube, it's honestly at the moment, it's just trying to introduce myself on a different platform. Um, but yeah.
So starting out, what was your avenue for promoting yourself? Like, how did you go about promoting it? And
Yeah. Um, my 2 biggest platforms was definitely Twitter. That was one, and that's always been the one that's just never really, I don't know, taken off very well. It's here and there, I'll get a couple a few likes, maybe max 10 it's definitely was slow. The one that made me go from, like, having, like, no followers at all to kinda exploding all of a sudden was actually Reddit. There is a subreddit called, I think it's called Twitch Startups. I haven't been there on there a little bit, but that is for very, very early streamers trying to get into the game and help get an affiliate. It's not a follow for follow, which is really good because that does not help you at all. Follow for follow does not work for people. That might hit your number of 50 followers, but you're not gonna get that average of 3 viewers. Not usually. So Twitch startup is you throw up your link on there and you say, "Hey, I'm looking for viewers or I'm looking for chatters," and hopefully you get some other awesome small time streamers that come in and will support you. Now, this is like I always say, this is my biggest piece of advice when you're starting out as a content creator. You have to give more support that you're gonna receive. Um, I met Stev Streams through the Twitch through Reddit, and that guy's a super good friend of mine. So is Harcher, all these good guys. I went to their streams first and just sat in there, hung out with them for a couple hours. And next thing I know, they're in my chat doing the same thing. And then we're going back and forth. And now I have a solid set of guys who are supporting me because we became friends out of that. And you know, I'm in gaming with those guys, like I said, ever since I started streaming. Just because all I did was sat in someone's chat for 3 hours, and yet I made a friend forever, and it helped me get to affiliate within like a month. I know there's a lot of people who have really difficult troubles trying to get to that affiliate. Um, and I always ask them, "Are you in other people's streams more than you are in yours?" And they're like, "No, I try to hop in others, but I don't really have the time." I'm like, "You might want to take a day off streaming just to go support other people so they can support you back." So that's always been my biggest advice, and that's what's worked for me.
that's some solid advice for sure. And as someone who um, on the stream game myself, it's a big thing to put yourself in other people's streams, get yourself noticed without self promoting too. That's also a touchy trick to pull off as well. Self promotion is definitely frowned upon in the streaming community by the majority. I've seen people get adverse attacked from going into some popular streamer stream and saying, "Hey, I'm gonna go stream later," and
Oh yeah, that's a
that never
big no
works.
no.
It never works out. So hey,
Yeah.
like I know the Reddit thing that was funny too because whenever my good friend Gladys interviewed me. Like he asked me a similar type question, and where I got a lot of my traction was Reddit too. But it was just because I was posting some funny clips and shit that happened. I wasn't even looking for viewers, but at least there's a platform for small streamers. And like I said, I've never seen know that I'm on Reddit quite a bit, and I don't know of that subreddit. So hopefully anyone listening will take a chance. And if I find the subreddit, I'll throw a link to it in the description of this video so you
Yeah, I'll
can
send you a link. I'll send
yeah,
you a link.
perfect. So I'll put that in. So anyone that's looking for to try to maybe get a little bit of more traction, definitely be helpful. It'd be appreciated. I imagine by most. So I know for a fact because we and you have played together numerous times. Dead by Daylight. You always killed me if you were the killer every time. It's always I hate playing against you. But so interaction with your chat, like what other than like your Discord is pretty active at times. Anything else that you do besides your Discord and stuff to interact with your viewers and stuff, either in gaming or even outside of gaming? Any other forms of contact you have with your followers?
I would say the one that kind of sticks out. We used to do something called community night, and what we would do as a group of people is that we would actually bring in anyone who came into the chat. Like, so we're like, "Oh, you're a brand new follower, you're a brand new community member, let's get you in. Well, it's actually kind of turned out to be like that usually bites you in the ass more than it pays off, because usually you just get trolls who come in who really don't care about your content. They just want to have a joke for themselves and will do something, stupid to just kind of ruin the night. It's not always the case, but it's enough to where one dude could possibly just ruin the night for everyone. And it just kind of like brings down the mood, the vibe. So what we started doing is we kind of do still do community night, especially with the game Among Us that just came out. Um, we will invite new people, but we have to play with you at least off stream once, just to kind of gauge who you are as a person. Because no one really likes rage is fun, but when you're just constantly complaining and raging at all times, a lot of people just don't like that in their content. And yeah, so what I'm trying to get is you just got to really try to judge people with what they're doing and how they are as a person. That's why we had to implement this like rule for community night. um as a new streamer, as long as you have a decent small community kind of building up, even if you're at 3 to 4 viewers, implementing those followers, those supporters into your games will go a really long way, in my opinion. It really helps them feel like they're a part of your community, and it means a lot to them.
Yeah,
Heck, I'll
because
even buy someone who maybe doesn't have a really good computer. I'll buy them a cheap game just to play with them, because I know, like, for one, it's gonna make them feel good that they get to play a game, because usually they can't, and they get to play with someone who they support all the time. Just going out of your way to help out your own supporters, they're gonna stick with you forever, and it's really paid off on my own end for that.
yeah, because the second kind of follow up was there benefits and drawbacks. You already covered that. There's definitely benefits, and there's also drawbacks playing with viewers. I know. I a funny little story. I've probably told it before, but it was back when I was streaming on both Twitch and YouTube. Um, because I wasn't affiliated with Twitch at the time, and I was playing with my buddy doing work. And we're playing Sea of Thieves on the sloop. And anyways, he had to go pick up his daughter or something. I can't remember exactly now, but there was a young fellow in my stream on YouTube. And he was like, can I play with you? And I'm like, I didn't know the kid. Like, I didn't know, like, even know how old he was, right? So I'm like, doing work. Like, well, I got to go. I'm like, well, if you want to jump on for a bit, I said, I'll give you a spot in my boat. So the young fellow come on. He was probably, he wasn't quite squeaker, but he was young. You could tell by the voice. And so, anyways, we were
Yeah.
playing for a little bit. Like the young fellow seemed like he was fine. He'd make a few little funny comments, and all of a sudden, he stood on the bowsprit of the boat, pulled his megaphone out, and he's like, "Where's everybody? Everybody, come fight me! 1v1 me!" And he's just going right off the rails. The kid was comical as hell. I mean, it definitely could have went the opposite way. Like it could have been a complete train wreck, but it was quite entertaining, and it was definitely worth inviting him into my stream just for that.
Oh
But
yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
de-
Yeah,
def-
I've had some people that, I'm just like, I'm gonna take a gamble on you. And they were honestly some of the coolest guys. There's a guy who still supports me to this day. When I played Rust for like a month and a half, 2 months, he's still in my chat every single day. And one night it was soup. There was no one on the server except him and his buddy, and it was me and G. And because of those two dudes, they made a night of content easily for me. And I just met these guys, and they were just starting to support me. So, it's a gamble. You might have a really good night, or you might have honestly, it was just last week where we kind of did that. I kind of broke my own rule, and it just reasserted the rule. This guy came in and was just, in Among Us, you're kind of accusing other people of being the imposter, and some people can't handle that, and they'll just pop off and be super rude and, super accusatory. It's yeah. So
someone who
it's a gamble.
takes a little too personal instead of having fun. So
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
definitely some points, a good point benefits and some drawbacks to both. I'm glad that you provided good examples for both. That's great. Didn't even have to ask the question, and I got it. That's perfect. Perfect. All right.
Yeah.
So here's a tough question. Was there a point where you ever wanted to stop and just give it all up, streaming, etc.?
There's times where it's almost like it does kind of get to you. I've taken a 2 week break, and that was my longest, and even then that kind of hurt. Like that took it feels good while it's happening, because you're like, oh, I have a breath of fresh air, I can kind of reset. But I will say at the end of it, you're kind of like, man, I miss it, and I wish I kind of didn't, even though you need to do it. Like, do not feel like you should never not take a break if you feel like you need to, because no one wants to sit there watching the person not really talking because they have no energy to do this, and you can just tell that there's no motivation behind it anymore. They feel like they have to do it. It's the worst streams to watch, because I'll hop in there, maybe watch for 2 minutes, but then I'll be like, I can't watch this guy. There's just like nothing to it. It's so blah. Um, there's never been a time where I feel like I'm going to end this forever. I never want to do it, but there's been absolutely times where I'm like, I need a break. I just want to sit down, play a few games with my friends, and have YouTube going on the side, or just watch some show that I want to catch up on, and just kind of chill. I still do that at least once a week, you know. Um, that being said, with the repetitiveness, keeping on it, in the beginning, you want to be on stream as much as you possibly can comfortably. I'm going to still say that, but you might want to do it more than you would probably want to do it, in a couple months from now, right? Like, if you're like, hi, I kind of want to stream like 3 nights a week, you might want to try to push a little bit harder just to kind of get some traction going. Once you get some traction going, make your own schedule, and you can go with that. I think that'll be a good place to start.
There you go. Solid advice. All right. So, what have you added to your stream, or what have you added to technical wise, like for your setup for your PC? What do you talk about your specs a little bit, and what you've added to your stream, and if you've noticed adding these things made a benefit to your stream itself?
So I run a Ryzen 9 3900X with a RTX 2080. Those are that's obviously that's what usually people want to hear is what CPU you running, what kind of GPU are you running. So those are my like the big guts of it. I have 16 gigs of RAM. Pretty it's a good system. I'm actually looking to upgrade the RAM soon, but the biggest thing that I really would say that has upgraded my stream is a stream deck. Even if you go with a smaller stream deck, those really help with doing transitions. So I might go off on a tangent here, but
Feel free.
so as a stream deck, if anyone who doesn't know what it is, it's a very customizable device that sits on your computer or on your desk, and it has little buttons on it. And it's like I say, when it's super customizable, you can make it a folder when you click a button, so it goes down another level deeper. You can add music to it, so when you play it, it'll start playing music. The biggest thing that I use it for is transitions between my scenes on Twitch. It is so much more it's so much more cleaner than having to alt tab, go to your slobs or stream elements, whatever you're using, OBS, and clicking on the scene, so you go to like a be right back screen, and then having to go back into your game. There's awkward pausing in it, and it's I don't know, it just doesn't look good. It doesn't look clean. Having you just sitting there, you're gaming, you look down, you click a button real quick, and it immediately goes. It gives a little bit more professional look to it. And it's the only problem is it's a little expensive. I think the cheapest one's like $100. So for some people, that's they can swing that. For sometimes the new content creators, this might be their only income, and $100 off of streaming, that can be quite a bit to start off on. But if you can swing it, it will definitely make your streaming, your broadcast much cleaner. Let's
That's
see, is there anything else?
you're on a green screen too, right?
Yeah, that's another one. In my personal opinion, it does not matter whether or not you use a green screen or not. It is personal preference. You can look at some of these huge content creators. You got like Dr. Lupo, you got Markiplier, you got just Ninja. They don't use green screens, and they're doing obviously just fine.
Yeah, Yeah, those guys are doing fine. That's true. That's very true. Um, Audio wise, what are you using out for your mic and stuff? What kind of setup you have there?
I'm using a Blue Yeti mic, and those are pretty good. It's definitely I feel like, and I think you'll probably agree, is that those are usually the pretty like starter type of mics. Outside of obviously you just using your headset mic.
Right.
Pretty good mic. Another like if you're gonna use a Blue Yeti type of mic or even your headset mic, another really good piece of software is called Voice Mod Pro. Those are kind of like a Go XLR type of device in a way, in a certain type of way, a voice modulator. The part of the Go XLR. You can change your voice to sound like silly, like weird stuff, really deep or really high pitch, or it has all these built-in effects too. But the biggest thing that I used it for was you can add sound bits, like MLG air horn or I mean just name it. You can add that and you can play that through your mic inside of games. I don't use it to annoy people because that's not what it's about. You use it to just add a little bit more to your games, right? Like back in the day before they were super hard on copyright, I would play DMX X gonna give it to you as I'm riding up on a ship in Sea of Thieves, and my stream loved it. They would ask me, go DMX someone, go DMX someone. I'm like, all right, here we go. Let me see if I can go find someone. They loved it. So that's a really, really easy um piece of device to implement, and it's pretty cheap. There is a cost to it for the adding the sound effects, not the voice modulating part, but it's very cheap. I don't think it's like I think it's like $10 like every like 3 months or something like that. It's it's enough to swing in. Just a small little tidbit. You kind of have to put in some money into your stream to really make it pop off. When you're starting off, you can just kind of get away with a lot, but if you start picking up some traction, you kind of want to, stand out from the rest of them. You're gonna have to put some of that effort into it, and I definitely have.
It definitely shows. I mean, your stream always looks good and it sounds good. I mean, the Blue Yeti like is like it's usually kind of the starter mic for a lot of people. I use it. Mine's the Blue Nessie. Most people never even heard of the damn thing, but I mean, I got it on sale and it works great. I mean, it's USB. It's not, it doesn't plug into a mixer or anything crazy. But for the Blue Yeti's always been kind of like something that everyone seems to kind of a lot of people have started out with. So it definitely nothing wrong with them. I mean, like your stream always sounds really well, so there's not like a issue mic wise for you. So
Yeah. Another small little one while we're on mics. If you have an RTX type of graphics card, there is something out there called RTX Voice that is just superb at hiding background noise. It'll hide your mouse clicking, your keyboard. Like I can have a fan blowing right onto me in my mic, and RTX will block it out. If you have that type of graphics card, definitely look into that. It can be kind of a pain sometimes. It'll just like the program will kind of just flip out, and then it'll shut itself off, and you'll lose your mic for like a moment. But just that small little like drawback is so worth it for everything else. So if you have an RTX graphics card, look into that.
yeah, there's a lot of mistakes the starting streamers make is they worry too much on trying to stream 1080 60, trying to have the best looking stream, trying to play the game at the highest, but then their mic is like two cans and a string, wrapped around a goat's neck. It's no point in having a good looking stream if no one can hear you. Audio is a big thing in streaming, and that's one thing that's overlooked. So giving
Yes.
those advices on not cheaping out on a mic, but you don't have to spend $800 on a high end mic if you're just starting out.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a fine line, and I mean like you gotta have quality without breaking the bank, and that's some good advice. And that voice mod software is definitely something for someone to look into, as they get going into the stream. I wouldn't start off your streaming career with using a bunch of crazy voice mod stuff.
Yeah.
To unless you're doing some persona like that's gonna be you all the time. But remember, if you start one way, you might have to stay that way. So
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. It'll definitely help you out, but yeah, no one wants some guy crazily making all these noises and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
it's like Crib just said. It's like it definitely, unless you're gonna make that your persona, and trust me, you're gonna get burnt out pretty quick trying to make that your persona, where you're just like, actively going. I mean, look at Doctor Disrespect. He was super energetic, and now he's him. He's definitely landed where he was, but
Yeah.
he didn't keep up that craziness
Yeah.
for for whatever years. Like, he fell into his right position. So obviously, be diligent, be smart about it.
All right. So this might be I don't know. This could be a touchy question for some people. So it
Lay
might
it on
not.
me.
Have you ever streamed or made videos of a game that you no longer liked just because it was bringing in views?
Um, I definitely wouldn't say that I don't know if I would say I no longer liked, but definitely that I was definitely falling out of. Yeah, and honestly, that just kind of gets to a point about any sort of game that I start playing. I'll keep playing it for a while, even though I kind of don't feel like it. Um, but I usually always do get an itch to come back to the game eventually. So one of those is Dead by Daylight. It just the developers were really just focusing more on the cosmetics rather than the optimization of the game. That has changed recently. They actually are starting to focus down, and the game is definitely getting more clean. But at a certain point, I was just like, I'm done. I can't play this anymore. I gotta step away, and then a month or two will go by, and I'll be like, all right, let me go play this. It's usually killer. Is when that happens. Is usually I want to go play killer, not really survive with friends. But obviously, if someone sees me on Dead by Daylight, they come by and they ask, and I'll be a nice guy, and I'm like, yeah, I'll play some games with you, I guess. That's always been one, and then also Sea of Thieves can get pretty dry sometimes. They'll release a new content update. It's always, almost always, 99% of the time, it's always PvE, and I'm more of a PvP guy of it. Sometimes it gets to you while you're streaming, and you have people in your chat, and they're looking for action, and you've been sailing on the water looking for ships for an hour, but no one plays the game, or no one's playing the game right now. It kind of gets to you. So there's been some times where I'm like, people want to watch this. People want to see Sea of Thieves. They really want to see Dead by Daylight. So I'll come back and I'll do that. But I won't keep up with it for a really long time. I was actually talking about it yesterday with some friends. There is a big there's two ways to almost get famous on content creating, right? There is you stick to one single game and you play nothing but that game for years, and eventually people are going to start noticing who you are just because they always see your name in that channel. You'll get viewers that way, right? um but the moment you branch off to another game, your views are going to tank. For example, I love the freaking guy is Pace 22, one of the biggest Sea of Thieves streamers. He averages about 1100, 1500, 2000 viewers. The moment he steps to another game, and I just saw this, I saw him at 600 viewers. You know, it can be that type of drawback, but it works for him. So he's obviously a partner streamer with plenty more views than you need for that requirement, and he's doing just fine. But there is that kind of drawback. Now, there's plenty of other streamers out there who are variety, and that is what I'm now shooting for. I built my stream off Dead by Daylight, but I'm shooting to be more of a variety where people really they do come see Pace, but I want to be able to do the same thing. But it doesn't matter what game I play; it's all going to be for fun, right? Like, and that goes back to me, like, kind of basing my stream off like Wrecker and his type of guys. He has all of his views, and you can go to his video playlist on YouTube, and there will be 10 different games in the last 20 videos, and they're all like doing great. Some definitely doing better than others, but nonetheless, they're all doing really good. So that's the two ways you want to kind of maybe even view how you're going to handle your streaming is, do you want to play the same game forever and someone will notice it, or do you want to kind of be the variety guy, play 3 different games, 4 games, and kind of go off that?
Yeah, no, from being in other streams and talking to other streamers and and stuff. It seems to be the most common path is, I played this one game and, they happen to get raided by somebody, or, all of a sudden they get picked up along the way by a group of people and they get followed. And it takes them sometimes a long time to break out of it. And I know there's some people out there, and I mean, not personally, I don't know anyone that would, personally say that I would play this game for like 6 months. I fucking hated it, but the only reason I played it because I get views. Like that's the kind of stream that would be soul sucking. I think having to play a game you hated just for the views. I don't know if I could do it.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, everyone could follow the Fortnite path, right?
Oh,
Like
wow.
you're good. There's like, yes, that category is flooded with other streamers playing that game, but also there is just the sheer amount of people who do want to watch that game. Now I'm gonna say most of them are probably gonna be kids. There's definitely some people who are, adults who play the game, but you can definitely agree that the majority are probably going to be kids, and that might be the crowd that you might attract, and that's maybe not what you're going for. Personally, for me, my stream is a mature rated one, just because we cuss and I let people be themselves. I don't want to just try to hold back, but hey, G's the opposite side. He does a family oriented, so kind of butt heads a lot there on that. But yeah, so yeah, like I said, going back, I've never been a part, or I've never played a game that I hated. I just played some games that I'm just like, I'm really getting bored of this, but some viewers just want to watch it. I'll do it for a little while, but it ain't gonna be forever. I'll move on to something else.
So it's no problem in playing something you're not maybe fond of. And I get like sometimes after certain updates, some games aren't as fun to play, or mechanics or an update wasn't as good as it was supposed to be. But at least you're not one of those people that, I just played this game and every time you shut the computer off after streaming, you feel like drinking yourself into a stupor
Yeah.
so you can forget what just happened. Fair enough. Fair enough. So
Yeah.
this is one that I always like to hear the answer to. How do your friends and family react when you tell them what you do?
So I'm pretty much the only nerd in my family. My niece, just because she's just a little bit younger than me. Um, she's obviously just been a gamer because I was a gamer, and she would hang out with me, right? So, and it's kind of weird to say like, oh, your niece? Yeah, my niece is only 2 years younger than me. So, but yeah, you figure that out. But yeah, she's she has always been part of a gamer, so she kind of understands it a little bit. But the even if as a gamer, some people are like don't understand, like, why would you watch someone play a game when you could play it yourselves? I'm like, well, do you like football? Yeah. Well, you could be going playing football outside, but why are you watching NFL? Well, I'm like, it's the same thing. It's just we all have our different, um our different hobbies or interests and stuff like that. So um my parents, like, they don't really understand it, but they're kind of like, people are watching you, I guess that's pretty cool. I gotta admit, I wouldn't understand it, but hey, it's pretty awesome. My friends are almost all my friends are usually in chat, usually hanging out. Two of my college best friends, they're actually my mods. So when it comes to the family, they don't understand. When it comes to my friends, they're just like, yep, I totally understand this. Yeah, I'm going to support you. So
That's good. But no, your parents aren't, or your families aren't telling you, say, "Why are you doing this? Wasting your time?" Are they negative? They just kind of passive about it, or they still kind of say like, "Good for you," and
yeah, it's your parents are always going to be like, like, well, just make sure you have a really good career set ahead of you, and excuse me, make sure you do that, right? Like, don't put all your eggs in one basket when it comes to streaming, because unfortunately the people who make it, that number is pretty small. There's just too much out there to possibly make it. But I'm gonna say, go for it. Don't be 10 years later and be like, what if, right? Like I said, I watched Ninja when he had like 300 people was like just watching him, like even possibly even less than that, because this is before Twitch was, I think, Twitch. um and look at him now, he's the biggest streamer of all time. So there's definitely plenty of room to grow. There's plenty of games out there that people want to watch, but definitely don't try to make it your career and don't focus on other things. Grow grow yourself in multiple areas of life. Let streaming be one of them. Take it seriously if you really do want to be a content creator. Definitely put the effort in, but just don't have this crazy, wild American dream that just because you did it doesn't mean you deserve to be it. It's an ugly truth, but it is what it is.
So, at least you're supported from your friends and family side. Has being a content creator affected personal relationships?
Um, I wouldn't say so. Obviously, when I was starting off, I obviously had to give more attention to streaming. Like I said, you have to give a lot in the beginning, a ton. You have to really support other people before they're gonna start supporting you. You really need to like I said, when I was like, hey, you want to stream 3 days a week? Maybe you should stream 4 or 5, just to like that first like month and a half. My like yeah it kind of it made it a little bit stressful with me and my wife, just because I wasn't giving her as much attention as I probably should have been, but she understood that like I want you to do what you want to do, and I understand that you need to put a lot of effort right away into it, and to just kind of get a foothold going. And she was in chat with me every night, so it definitely I made it like a thing where I was like, hey, Tuesdays I'm not gonna stream. We're gonna hang out. We'll watch a movie, whatever you want to do. And then also on Sundays, I kind of just like Sundays anyways for like just like taking the day off. It's a weekend, so she has the day off. We can go do whatever we want for the day. We need to run errands, want to go shopping, go get food, go out to eat, like whatever. I give her usually those 2 days off. Now that COVID hit, she's just like, hey, people are at home. They're they're not at work. They have a much easier chance of watching you. She's just like, go stream through the day if you can. She's like, whatever you're doing, if you're not working, she's like, I'm at home with you, so I see enough of you. She's like, just go stream. She's like, you go, just use this time that is such an easy point for people to watch you. But yes, I can definitely say that yeah, streaming does have caused some strain before. But hey, if you're strong, you can work through it as long as you're smart about it.
At least she's supportive of you. That's a big thing too. And now she's sick at you telling you to stream, so that's also a good thing, I guess.
Yep. Yeah.
For your mug today, go stream for a few hours. Leave me alone. Well, that's good.
I tell you what, if you got a significant other who is, just make them a mod. Even if they don't do anything with it, just make them a mod. They'll be so happy about it.
That's what I tell my wife when she gets home from work today. I say, "Dear, I just made you a mod." She'd be like, "Shut up." No, my wife's awesome. I don't want to put that in there. My wife's awesome. I'm kidding. Yeah. I'm kidding, by the way. She might tell me to shut up, but she wouldn't mean it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. So, here's a 2-part question. We'll start with the negative, and we'll try to end this 2-parter on the positive. What is your least favorite thing about streaming, content creation in general? What is your favorite thing about it?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say the best. I want to answer with the best one.
Oh, you're gonna go.
My favorite part about it.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm gonna chill. I'm putting the least favorite in the back of my head real quick as I let that think. My favorite part, I think, is just a little bit more upfront and obvious, is that, and I know it probably sounds really cliche, but it's true. Honest to God, I've met some of my and I know I've only known them for almost a year and a half because that's all the longer I've been streaming. But I've met some really close friends now. Like Mr. GP is my right-hand man. He is the guy that I go to if I need another person for my content creating. That dude is freaking just such a good guy, and he's always willing to help me out with my videos. I'm like, hey, G, I want to check out this game. It's 2 players. You willing to try it out with me? And it's almost 99% of the time. Yeah, let's try it. Let's do it. How many friends that I have made, like you, Crip, doing work, taco-ness, like I have a list of people that I have made, close relationships with, and that I can trust with my content. That is such a no one talks about this, is trust in content creating, right? That takes a lot of it's such an important part, is what I'm trying to say. you trying to get out good content is already hard enough, and not having a solid group to do it with is the worst thing in the world. It is such a pain in the neck. And I have been blessed, and I'm very lucky to have meet like people like you, to where like I'm like, that's the last thing I got to worry about is the people that I'm playing with right now. I have a reliable set of friends that I'm like, man, I feel like getting some Sea of Thieves. Well, here's like a solid set of people on Sea of Thieves that I know that we're gonna have a freaking good time, or we're gonna be laughing our asses off. That honestly is my favorite thing, and I say this in stream all the time, and I mean it. The monetary stuff that comes out of Twitch is awesome. I love it, but is nowhere near as important as people showing up to my stream and just chatting and hanging out. I would rather not make money and yet have like 10 people in my chat talking all the time. I would easily make that sacrifice. The monetary value is like not that super important to me, but just sitting there, everyone's having a good time, everyone's laughing, and we're just chilling. It's so much more, like, it brings so much more joy. um my least favorite, that's the tough one. My least favorite is coming across people who, like, you extend an olive branch to, and you're like, hey, come join me on my games, or you support them, but they also kind of don't return it, right? Like, I'm not supporting people for the chance that I hope you support me, but it's more or less that, like, it's a courtesy thing, right? Like, I stream, but yet you're never in my chat, and it's kind of a kick in the head when you're like I see you in this one person's chat all the time, and yet you never show up to mine. It's just kind of like, man, like, really, dude? Like, it's a pet peeve of mine. Like, I'm in your chat like 3 times a week, and you haven't showed up to mine in a month. Unfortunately, sometimes those type of people you might need to cut out, because they're not in it for you, they're in it for themselves, and they're just using you. And I've had plenty of that. I had a guy get I supported the guy for 6 months, and this is before I started streaming. As soon as I started streaming, I asked him for some pointers. He gave me some like really vague ones. I was just like, okay. A lot of my beginner equipment was based off him, and I'm not gonna say his name, obviously, but he randomly all of a sudden one day blocked me, and I tried messaging him why. He just ignored me, and I was just like, okay, that was a big waste of time for me. You were a man child, and this is what you did. So probably that's my least favorite thing, is that people who don't take your stream seriously but expect you to take theirs, and they don't want to support you yet you support them. It just goes to show, like, they weren't really your friend. They acted like it, so it was a facade.
Phony people are top of your list of things that piss you off. Good to know.
Oh God, yeah, it's bad.
Join the club, my friend. Join the club. This is this is a tough question, because I mean, I know it's hard to, and I was asked this question too, so it's a tough one to answer. But and I mean, it's definitely not going to be the pinnacle, because you're not there yet, right? But what's one of the like really high points in your streaming content creation? What's a moment you look at every time you think about it? It's like holds a special place. What's one of those high points?
Oh man, there is definitely a few. When you get rated from a big streamer, that's pretty awesome. Let me tell you. I know there's some guys out there who's never experienced that, and I'm really sorry that you haven't. But it is a great feeling. And I've noticed, this is the biggest thing. There's some game communities out there, you'll never get it ever. They don't raid other people. Like, even all the top guys, they won't do it. But there's some content creators, and I know you interviewed one of them, Bearded Guy Gaming. Those guys have rated me twice during my Sea of Thieves career. Those guys are freaking awesome. I loved them, and I'm so happy to see that you got to interview them. That's just I love those guys. I've been rated by Boxy, Nerdy Netty. I just noticed I Sea of Thieves is just a great community, and that really goes to show, what kind of people they are, right? What kind of people that are out there. There's a lot of people out there who want to support you. Um, you know, just when you see people like that who made it, right? They've definitely made it, and they go back and they rated me when I had like 8 viewers, right? Like they're not looking for they're not rating some guy with 75 viewers and be like, cool, I just grabbed a chunk of their viewers, they're gonna come see me now, right? No, they rated a guy with 8 views. They were just being awesome people. Like that really stuck to me. That like really made me go, that's exactly what I've always wanted to be able to do, right? Like I want to be able to make it, right? That would be such an awesome thing. Have like 1,000 people who are watching you and just go hammer a person who's been streaming for a year who's averaging 10 viewers and just seeing the look on their face. Oh, when they did that to me, it's just like I want to be able to do that, right?
So getting rated by a big streamer, awesome. Yeah, like I said,
Hmm.
yeah, mentioned bearded guys. Those guys are awesome. I couldn't thank them enough for for gracing me with their presence on the interview. And like I said,
Yeah, right.
I've gamed with them. They hosted me back in the day and stuff too. So there's some top shelf guys. But yeah, there is some communities that I know because I've been in some of them, like watching the streams, and they, after every stream they raid somebody. Sometimes a big, depending on if they're raiding a friend or small. And there's some streamers that don't raid anybody. And it's like
Yeah.
you kind of wonder. It's like, well, you started small too. Like it's kind of something I've noticed with some streamers, and it's like, how do you not, you know, take your community and kind of like give them an opportunity to pass around? But it's, I mean, to each their own. Maybe not everyone's into that, but a funny story. I actually had two people in my chat one night. I was just getting ready to log off, and I always done the same thing. I always either look for like you, or like doing work, or one of my other friends that maybe was streaming, or if we were streaming together and I was getting off, I'd pass my stream off to one of you fellas so they could at least keep watching, or I'd find someone that was streaming the same game and that had like 1 or 2 views. I had people that had 1 or 2 views that they had their raid function turned off. Like they would not allow people to raid them. I'm thinking that's it's a
Yeah.
strange way. I mean, the guy had like 2 viewers and like 15 followers or whatever it was, and it was like he was a small streamer. He was playing the same game I was, and I was like, oh, well, I had a few people in my chat, so I'm like, well, not a whole bunch. I mean, I didn't have 50 or 60, but I'm like, I'll throw like my 5 or 6 people that are chatting over to him and or her. It was a guy too because he had a cam. Because I watched the stream to make sure he wasn't like getting ready to log off, and
Right, right.
and I couldn't rate him. I'm like, that's really strange. So I'm like, well, I'll find someone else. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
getting rated and or seeing someone take their share and rate someone's pretty cool to see too. Like seeing those reactions. Yeah.
Yeah, around rating, so like when he was, yeah, like what Crip was saying about like, he'll look for me, he'll look for doing work and stuff like that. You definitely want to, reward your friends almost. You want to be able to give them a gift, like even if it's only a couple of viewers, right? You want to do that to your friends because obviously they support you. You want to support them back. They do the same to you. What I have noticed, and that's part of the reason why I feel like even though I only average like 10 to 15 viewers, it's not a lot. I feel like I have success in this, right? I'm not partnered or anything like that. I'm not making like crazy amount of money, but I honestly do feel like, man, I feel a little successful about streaming. I know what I'm talking about. I've been through it. Like the biggest thing about rating your friends is that you're gonna churn your friendships into a community, and from that community you guys will actually start sharing viewers. You'll get people from their community because like Cryptic rated me, and people who've been watching him for a few months or even longer will be like, oh, Crip's not on, but hey, there's this guy that he rated and I sat in there for a little bit and this guy was funny. I don't know how many times that has happened to me, so I'll return the favor. I'll go raid Crip and I'll have you know, all my people just hang out in there and just shoot the shit. Do that with enough people, you're gonna have like 7, 8 streamers doing that to one another. Your viewer count will start skyrocketing quickly, and it really does pay off. Now you do have um your loyalists, right? That are like, okay, this guy rated, hey, Thrompz raid, okay, I'm out. Like that'll be it. Like you're gonna have those people in your community. Like, I don't want to watch anyone else. I just want to watch Thrompz. That's the only person I want to watch. Not obviously just not me, but yeah, you're gonna have that, but it really does pay off. Now, going back to, I'll say it, and it's kind of stick with me now. The best term to really put with streaming sometimes is gambling. It is a gamble. I do want to raid. I like raiding other people. If I don't have like much like good friends on, or if like a friend is on, but I raid them all the time, I'm like, okay, I want to switch it up. Let's go find someone. I don't know how many times I raided someone who was just, uh, Thrompz coming in with 8 people. Thanks, man. And then that's it. Like, they don't ask how your stream was. They don't ask what you were playing. And like that was it. Like, they look like they were cool people. They look like they were pretty chilled. It'd be a good stream. They just like brush you off and they're just like, whatever. And then they just go back to do whatever they were doing and barely even acknowledge your community. I won't even follow them. Or if I do follow them, they're kind of be like, let's get the hype like going like right away. I'll come back in a day, see if they're the same way, or if it was just a bad night. And if you're still the same way, I'll unfollow. Like, I won't, waste my time there.
Yeah, no need wasting your time on people like that. That's for sure.
Yeah. So I wanted to get this out earlier, but I kind of blanked on it. With the introducing yourself, this kind of goes along with raiding, right? I didn't raid her at the time. I was doing what I was talking about earlier. I was reaching out to people for support more than I was getting it, right? And the person I did this with that always stands out, and me and her talk about it pretty often, is the Taco Miss. She is a awesome Dead by Daylight streamer. Well, she's been actually venturing off. She is now part of my like solid group of people that I play with almost daily. We literally just ask each other, hey, what are we playing tonight? Like, that's how close we are. But when I met her, I went into her channel and she was playing Dead by Daylight. I went into her, and when Crip was talking about self-promoting, some people might view this as bad with what I did, but some people were like, you're fine. All I did is I went in there and I said, hey, I'm a fellow small-time Dead by Daylight streamer. I'm hopping around other people's streams and just kind of introducing myself and throwing support and trying to meet new friends. In my personal opinion, if you do that, I'm totally okay with that. If you came into my channel, like, just said something like that, like, hey, I'm not going live right now. I'm a streamer. I want to introduce myself as a streamer, but I'm looking to support new people. I would be like, absolutely, welcome. Small streamers supporting small streamers. That is like our lifeblood, helping each other out. I'm totally okay with that. But like what Crip said, hey man, about to go live, and I've had a friend do that to in my stream. Hey man, I'm getting ready to go live. I was just kind of seeing if had any viewers that kind of want to watch me. That's such the biggest no. No, do
sure.
not do.
No. Introducing yourself to another streamer and let them know that you also stream this game, especially a game like Dead by Daylight, where you can play with other people and and actually have a community style and do kill your friends and actually have that type of gameplay. That works. And I mean, even the same as Sea of Thieves, like if you see someone that's is introduce yourself, get to know them a bit, and then like, hey, I play this game too, and like you can work on a community. But to go in and just say, yeah, I'm going live. I had someone that used to do that in my stream, just like, oh, like, hey, what's going on? Hey, you'd be happy to see them and start chatting. I'll say, yeah, I'm just about to go live, and that's the last thing they type in the chat for the night. I'm like, yeah, thanks.
yeah, exactly. I'm like, cool. I won't be supporting you.
Yeah, that's I don't do that in your stream. Yeah. Don't do that in mine. Introducing yourself and you're playing the same game. That's not the same thing, though. That's definitely that's acceptable.
Yeah. Some people are like, oh, that was clearly self-promoting. I'm like, I'm not going live right now. That's not really self-promoting. I'm not trying to steal your active viewers who are watching you right now. Like, no, it's just like, just introducing. And when I did that to the Taco, she like, this is like when I was like, I'm supporting the crap out of you right now. And I think I immediately subbed to her. She was like, oh, you're another streamer? She pulls up my channel, like while she's in the lobby waiting, pulls up my channel and introduces, like, goes through my stuff, talks about me, and hits the follow button. I'm like, you're like the epitome of like easy support. And ever since then, I've been supporting that girl, and she's been supporting me ever since then. Like, we are now super close friends. Having that type of like energy, that type of like mentality behind streaming. And I can definitely say, I don't know anyone who stresses more about trying to get more good content out than her. She's just like me, and I worry about it a lot. But yeah, having that type of like supporting energy, like I said, focus on yourself, but really focus on trying to support other people because it will pay off. It's almost as much as working on yourself, really, you know?
All right. So we're gonna end this up. We're gonna give you a chance to do a little self promotion. We've been promote yourself all day long here, but that's fine. But one more question: what games do you play off stream that you'd never see yourself streaming and or doing YouTube videos for?
Um, One of them I've tried. I've tried to stream, and it is just so slow pace and like it's I don't know, it's really fun to me is Stardew Valley. I love that game and I know people who make it work, but I've kind of built my community around um like go 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 fast fast action action, and I know that's my problem with Sea of Thieves I was talking about earlier. Sometimes I'm just like sailing for an hour and nothing happening, and that's kind of why sometimes I don't play that game. Stardew Valley is literally in my top 5 favorite games of all time. I freaking love it, but for me it's almost unstreamable. It's just too slow paced. People who you honestly you have to love Stardew Valley to even want to watch it and not play it. Like you got to really love it because it is a very slow paced farming game. It takes hours for anything to get done in it, really, but yet it is so rewarding. That's why I like playing it. So for myself, that is just one game that is just I kind of deemed unstreamable. Maybe YouTubing could be done because you can do a lot of jump cuts and kind of get things moving where you're not just sitting there. You're like, cool, these crops that I've been waiting on, they're gonna take like an actual hour for them to actually grow like in real time. It's gonna take like an hour. Like in YouTubing, you can jump cut that, and that's fast content. Streaming, it's I don't think it's gonna work. So
Not unless you have a lot of people talking about waiting for crops to grow.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Hey, some people like to watch paint dry, but they're sitting there to will and have a conversation with you. Hey, why not go for it?
Watch your crops grow and waiting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because there's
Yep.
there's always those games. I mean, someone that's done both YouTube and stream. I know like trying to do some games like I always found like single player like um, story driven games is difficult to stream because either someone is joining the stream late so they've missed some of the story, or they've already played the game and you're the backseat game, and or it's
Oh
always
yeah.
the fear of spoilers, right? And it's also I know there's if anyone's gonna watch a story driven game, they're probably already watching one of the bigger streamers that are playing it
Hmm.
because they probably watch that bigger streamer play other games. So yeah, like that story driven games are kind of tough to stream unless I think you already have a community behind you. But yeah, I know like earlier you stated the same thing was is the reason for YouTube is to possibly put that type of content over there because it's not streamable. But Stardew Valley, you were streaming it one night. I'm positive I watched you stream that before.
Hmm. I
Yeah,
think I've maybe tried it like once or twice, but yeah.
yeah. Okay. So this is kind of like the end of this thing. I want to thank you before we end. I want to thank you for making the time and joining me and answer my questions and offering up some great advice. I mean that's
I hope I was able to.
yeah. So what do you have coming down the pipe? Any special events? Anything crazy going on? Anything you want to promote?
So Cryptic said a little bit earlier that my YouTube definitely kind of like sat around for a little bit and nothing happening. I'm changing that. I'm actually this is for the first time that I've been starting content creating. I'm actually sitting down and actually just recording these videos where I'm not streaming, and I'm really trying to focus on just making content that is just for YouTube, and that's never really been a thing. I have 5 videos that are going to be lined up. That's going to be ready to go, and I'm going to try to pop one out today, hopefully. But hopefully soon. And I think my YouTube is going to be much more active than it's ever been, and I'm really going to try to stick with it. I've been investing quite a bit into the YouTube aspect of it, rather than just trying to pull VODs from stream. That works for people, but that's what's going to be coming down the pipeline for me. Is I'm going to try to get some more YouTube on the stream front. Nothing really, other than I really love World of Warcraft, and a new expansion is coming out in a month. Once that happens, if you're in a World of Warcraft, that's definitely going to be one thing that's going to be happening. So if you want to see what Shadowlands is going to be all about, that's where I'll be.
All right. So we got YouTube. We got some World of Warcraft coming. You're still doing your community nights.
A little bit, yeah. So like I said, if anyone wants to join, I'm willing to have you. Just know that my community, just because we've had so many bad eggs that kind of have ruined some nights, I want to play a game with you like off stream, right? And right now our community nights are consisting of Among Us. So luckily we can get a lot of people in at one time. We can most of my games when we would do community night, it'd be like 5 streamers, and then we could probably fit in like another like 2 or 3 viewers. With Among Us, it'll be like 4 streamers, and we can fit like another 6 viewers in. So that right now, that's what our community night is kind of being based off of. And we lately, for the last like 2 weeks, been playing every single night. So that is definitely something we can do. And Crypto should stop by because that game is super fun.
I should, eh? I should, right? I've gotten asked to play it. Buddy of mine asked me to play it, but I haven't got a chance to sit down and get into it. I watched you play a little bit the other day, and I just got to sit down and kind of watch it up and get caught up on it. But I'll definitely looking at giving it a try. Whether I ever make any content of it, I'll definitely willing to jump on and play with some friends for sure. But it's been too long. So all of Thrompz's links will be down below. I'm going to link that. He already sent me, right on top of it, he already sent me the link to that Reddit subreddit. So I got that for it. I'll have his Twitch. I'll have his Discord. I'll have his YouTube, and I'll have his Twitter. Anything else?
The only thing I was kind of want to say is just about helping out a streamer, and I'll make this super quick. Think about your theme. Don't make it final. It never has to be a thing forever. But think about a theme and kind of run with it. Work with it a little bit. It really pays off than having a streamer who has nothing. You know, Cryptic has his theme, and it's awesome. I love it. I have mine, which is mostly around beer. Everyone I know has a small theme, and it really works. So just kind of put that in the back of your head and think about a theme as you're working. So other than that, I think that's my last piece of advice, and I thank you for having me.
All right, dude. All right, as always, if you stuck around to the end, I really appreciate it. Feel free to drop a comment. This will be everywhere I can get it. It's on YouTube, it's on SoundCloud, it's on Spotify, it's on Anchor. All the links will be everywhere. Follow Thrompz. Follow him on Twitter. You'll know when he's going live. Follow me. Any comments, if you can't find him or he doesn't reply to you, let me know. And I'll definitely get the questions to me, Benny. And as always, thanks for sticking around, and we'll see you next time.
See you guys.